And when women have confidence and understand the playing field, they're more likely to advocate for themselves, and others are also more likely to advocate for them. Yeah. So the Young Women's Resource Center plays an absolutely critical role in bringing visibility to the need to help women and girls and to help certain segments of the population. And the work that they're doing is just so admirable and needs all of our support.
Recorded at Amplified Studio in downtown Des Moines, Give and Grow is more than a podcast. It's a commitment to our community. Founded by Andy and Sarah Suzanne alongside the RIA Group, this initiative is dedicated to uplifting the organizations and individuals who work every day to make Central Iowa a better place for all. Welcome to the Give and Grow podcast, where we share the stories of the nonprofits transforming lives in our community. Each organization is featured in 3 episodes, offering a deeper, more personal look at their impact. Through conversations with passionate staff, generous donors, and the very people whose lives have been changed by their work, our hope is simple: to connect, inspire, and strengthen the bonds that make our community thrive.
Welcome to the Give and Grow podcast. I'm your host, Siobhan Spain. This is the second of 3 episodes featuring the nonprofit Young Women's Resource Center. Young Women's Resource Center empowers girls and young women ages 10 to 24 to be strong, self-confident, and resilient. Their vision is for the youth of our community to grow to their full potential and realize the life of possibilities they deserve. Young Women's Resource Center's donor and volunteer, Suzanna de Baca, is here with me today. Suzanna is an Iowa farm kid and an art major turned Harvard-educated business exec who has worked in asset management on Wall Street. Suzanna also led Planned Parenthood of the Heartland before joining Business Publications Corporation as president and group publisher in 2018. She is also a published columnist, author, and poet. Now semi-retired, Suzanna is a professor at Iowa State University and strategic advisor with Storyboard Advisors. The accolades for her leadership, expertise, and community impact are awe-inspiring. Welcome, Suzanna. It's an honor to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me.
And is there anything you can't do?
I'm a terrible driver.
Oh, okay, good. I mean, we can't be all perfect. So you've done pivoting throughout your career. Tell me, how do you think the diversity of your background and participating in the arts have influenced your leadership success throughout your career?
Well, I've had a very diverse career,
yes,
for sure. And I think many people think, wow, art major to business, how does that actually work? I don't necessarily think of it as pivoting. I think of it as being myself and bringing all of my skills to bear to really help me fulfill the mission that I have, which is to use skills to make a difference in the world. But I think that the creative background, drawing, painting, printmaking, poetry, unintuitively have been incredibly helpful for me in the business world, thinking innovatively, sort of looking at things from different perspectives. So I tell all business people that they should get involved in the arts and support the arts because it will only strengthen their organization.
Well, you're preaching to the choir right now because I fully understand that and support that wholeheartedly. So it's really nice to hear it from your perspective because of your success throughout your career. And I love the fact that the arts can really help you relate and see things through different perspectives. And I think also being resourceful as well. It helps see what resources are around you and kind of learning how to utilize them to their best potential. Yeah,
exactly.
So thank you for all you do.
Well, thank you for all you do.
So you're embracing yet another pivot, I'm going to say, being semi-retired. I'm very suspicious about your semi-retirement. Do you see your volunteer and philanthropic goals changing as well?
I don't see my philanthropic and volunteer goals changing. I see the proportion of how I spend my time changing. But again, I'm pretty clear about what my purpose in life is. And now I just have the opportunity to, proportion out my day and time so that I can focus a little bit more on community involvement and creativity, as well as helping people in their business work.
Yeah, excellent. I was excited to talk to Young Women's Resource Center's Executive Director, Rachel Woodhouse, of course, about the nonprofit's news of taking over Planned Parenthood Book Sale. As an advisor and donor of the project, I can just imagine the valuable perspective that you were able to contribute to the process. Can you share some highlights?
Well, I cannot tell you how thrilled I am that the Young Women's Resource Center has decided to take over and sort of revitalize what was a 50-year treasure for this community, always supporting women and girls. I think if anything I was able to do besides provide some early funding to help develop a strategy and do some feasibility was that understanding of truly the legacy that was behind the book sale. Strong, visionary women leaders trying to figure out a way to create a sustainable funding stream and to bring visibility to the need for this organization. So if you can mix all these visionary women and then marry it into some of the powerhouse community leaders that we have today, bring visibility to the Young Women's Resource Centers, really, really comprehensive and amazing services, and sell books. I mean, what could be better?
Right, exactly. The Young Women's Resource Center does so much, and helping people for free, which is also very exciting. I think those barriers, removing all the barriers, is such an impressive aspect to that. So the new Young Women's Resource Center book sale will happen twice a year, with it starting in November of this year, 2025. As digital as our world is getting, analog books still hold a lot of value. Have you donated books? And if so, how do you decide which ones to hand over? And do you have any favorites that you will always keep?
Such a hard question. So I have boxes of books, not just for me, but also my mother has said I need to do a pickup for her to take for the book sale. My understanding is that they are getting so many books, so there's no shortage, but everyone has books to donate. But choosing how to give a book away, some of them are your best friends.
Yes.
It's always sort of a tension between sentimentality and the practicality of decluttering.
Yes.
So I try to make sure that I give them enough to keep the pipeline full and to keep my house, in somewhat decent order. But there are some books I don't know that I could ever give up. Some of those are my textbooks from college and graduate school, like art history books, and I know management history is boring to other people because there's so many memories. Like I think about where was I in my life when I was reading this book. I could never give away a poetry book unless it's a gift. Novels that changed my life. But, a lot of nonfiction, things like that, I'll either give those as gifts or think, wouldn't it be wonderful if I can pass these on so that somebody else can benefit from them?
Yeah, absolutely. It is really fun to share the books that you really have enjoyed, and hope that it does the same for other people.
Also cannot give away recipe books.
Oh, yes.
Impossible.
So you cook as well?
Yeah, well, not incredibly well, but that's why I have all those recipe books.
Yeah. It's really interesting what the energy books can hold. And I loved how you talked about the memories you had while reading or studying that book. I forgot about that aspect, and it definitely has some with reason why I can't let go of some of mine as well. So I've heard you say philanthropy and service to others were very ever present in your upbringing. You learn these values through your parents and church. Do you think we're doing a good job of instilling them in younger generations?
Mm-hmm. Well, I was very fortunate to grow up in a family where service was central to who we were. And for my parents, church was really that outlet. I think they instilled that spirit in us, and my siblings and all found different avenues that were important for us around our own priorities and passions. I think that kind of setting an example is key to helping the younger generation. If you see other people who you admire saying service is a way to live a good life and to be a steward in your community, that's inspiring to you. So not only my parents, but other people, I was like, oh, they're volunteering for this organization, or this person I like is serving on a board, or they're doing cleanup at something. I think the more that we are visible in our service work, not for any kind of recognition or gratitude, but to say this is a really good path, and this is a way to contribute to your community, will help inspire others. I see young people doing amazing things. I'm inspired every day. Sometimes this generation that's coming up gets kind of a bad rap, but no, they're volunteering. I've been on some boards with, people in their 20s. I hired a lot of people who were just out of college, and I'm like, oh my God, the world will be fine. Brilliant, creative, wonderful, caring people. So yeah, if we can show them the path and guide them to volunteerism and giving, all the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for saying that, because I do think they get a bad rap, but I definitely have a lot of hope.
Every generation gets a bad rap.
Right?
I mean, my generation,
Nothing
they
new.
said was lazy and had bad music. And we know we had the best music.
Absolutely. That's why they're listening to it again and again. So I noticed in a statement in the Young Women's Resource Center's annual report that said the freedom and rights of young women are more restricted now than when we were founded. How does the Young Women's Resource Center help address that? And what do you think about that?
Mm-hmm. There are different kinds of rights for women. Some have advanced, and some through policy shifts and law have taken a step backwards in the last 10 or 20 years. It's important to keep moving the ball forward and advocating for women. But one of the things the Young Women's Resource Center does incredibly well is programming to help build confidence as well as direct services. And when women have confidence and understand the playing field, they're more likely to advocate for themselves, and others are also more likely to advocate for them. Yeah. So the Young Women's Resource Center plays an absolutely critical role in bringing visibility to the need to help women and girls and to help certain segments of the population. And the work that they're doing is just so admirable and needs all of our support.
Yeah, absolutely. I think young women these days, I can't imagine all the information that they have to process, as a teenager too, when their development part of their development is just all over the place. They're processing so much and developing in like weird and cumbersome ways sometimes, and just social media. It's it was a concern when I was young, but now it just seems like there's so much more to combat and process as a young woman. So it's great to have a resource that understands that and walks alongside them in that process, because that self-confidence is huge. Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah. With the Young Women's Resource Center book sale proceeds, the organization will have another welcomed revenue stream. Funding is a central concern to most nonprofits, of course, and earned revenue is an avenue being explored more and more. It's been said that to lead a nonprofit successfully, you need to run it like a business. Do you think they're having to rely more on capitalism? And what do you see in the future of nonprofits and their fundraising strategies?
What I would say, and I've been saying this for decades,
Yeah.
even before some of the more recent defunding, is that a nonprofit is an organization. And what's necessary increasingly is more formalized management. So not necessarily a profit motivation,
Right.
but how do you really run an efficient organization so that you can further the mission and sustain the mission? Many places that I've been involved with, had the mantra, no mission, no margin, no mission, right?
Yes.
So thinking of, we're not trying to get rich here. We're trying to make sure that we can sustain the services and help the people that we're trying to serve, whatever the organization is. So there's nothing, in my opinion, that's negative about that. It's only positive. What this environment means, if your funding streams are being attacked, eliminated, it's important to have the nimbleness to say, okay,
Absolutely.
what now? What are we going to do? We can't rely on those. And I'm not trying to make a silver lining out of something that isn't great, but often when there is adversity in an organization, for-profit or nonprofit, that's when a lot of innovation kicks in.
Very true.
So it's an opportunity to say, for most organizations, what can we do differently? Maybe it's a book sale.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Maybe it's a different kind of philanthropic efforts, maybe, developing these different kinds of diversified funding streams, but being management savvy.
Absolutely, right.
Is always smart when you're running an organization.
Yeah, I think that, sometimes the use of funds is very scrutinized, and having a margin to work with is very a good idea if you can manage that in a good way. But that nimbleness keeps coming up. And I think having the capacity to be nimble in a nonprofit budget is really essential these days. And I'm hoping, it seems like funders are recognizing that a little bit more and more. What is ideal as far as that room, that flexibility? Do you have any insights on that?
Well, I know from being on boards and managing, right, that nonprofit budgets are always pretty tight.
Yeah.
And donors are asked to give to many organizations, especially in a small community like this. And so the more an organization can show a good plan, I'm very much about strategy, but to say, here's our goal, here's our mission, here is how we're going to do it. And things have changed, so we are going to change. Here are our ideas. That gives donors confidence that you do know what you're doing, and they're probably more willing to invest if you can show them that pathway. It also gives your team comfort that you know where you're going.
Right.
But when things are changing, that's where it comes back to that creativity. You may have to think differently in order to adjust that plan.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Suzanna, how long have you been involved with the Young Women's Resource Center? How did you get introduced to them?
Well, when I came back to Des Moines, I'd been living in Minneapolis, and I came back to work at Planned Parenthood. They were our neighbor.
Okay,
so that's really how I became
course.
familiar. And then, of course, many board members and donors in common, because the missions, were both centered in different ways on supporting young women and girls. So I became acquainted with all of the, executive directors. And as neighbors, you always try to pay attention to what's happening and trying to collaborate. So I guess I've had a fondness for the Young Women's Resource Center and a belief in their mission. It's probably been now 15 years. And when this opportunity to really facilitate, I'll call it the transfer of the book sale legacy to the Young Women's Resource Center, so that they could strengthen their mission to empower young women and girls, I said, sign me up. I believe in all of this.
Great.
I believe in books and the role of this book sale in the community. The fundraising to try to create, to revitalize this book sale Connie Weimer, Jenna Knox, and I were chairing this, and we said it was honestly the easiest fundraising we've ever done because everyone we called for the initial funding said yes, because they believed in the book sale, they believed in women and girls, and they believed in the Young Women's Resource Center. That's so powerful.
It really is.
It's so powerful. So I'm excited that the book sale, I think, will bring more attention to the work of the Young Women's Resource Center. They've sort of flown under the radar.
Yes.
They've been quiet about what they do, but it's so important. And there are other organizations supporting women and girls in different ways, but they're very unique and more needed than ever. So if the book sale can kind of get the name up a little bit more, in a spotlight so that people know that there's a need and can support the organization, then that ends up being a double win.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure so many families in central Iowa are excited for this kind of institution continuing the legacy of the book sale and the fact that Young Women's Resource Center that has such great support behind it can take it on is, definitely a win-win for the community. So that's exciting. Mm-hmm. Beyond the book sale, what's your hope for the Young Women's Resource Center's future?
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess one of my biggest hopes is that this source of funding and other community support, can sustain the mission, but beyond that, expand it. The ability to help more and more young women and girls in our community, the downstream effect of that will benefit the community for years and years. So I'd like to see this be sort of the wind beneath the wings of a phenomenal organization that with expansion could be doing even more.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for your support in our community and with the Young Women's Resource Center. You're such an inspiration to so many people. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
To find out more about the Young Women's Resource Center, you can visit YWRC.org. And if you add a /book sale, you'll find out information about that, about how you can donate and when you can go start buying books. And to our listeners, thank you for being here. You can always tune in to Give and Grow DSM podcast on your favorite streaming platforms and to giveandgrowdsm.com. Thanks, Suzanna, for being here.
Thank you.